So if we move all the furniture, such as it is, and maybe the beds. The circle seems to be the central motif of this installation. Everybody's come forward with projects that reflect circular, organic forms. So we've got bowls and food, we've got found objects and plants. We're going to have the rivers of knitting and of salt, which will also form a circle in this part of the room. Zhang Xuewu has done this. It's a building falling down, sort of looking like it's decayed, everything has just fallen apart. And so I thought, well, I had planned to make a building. I'd actually planned to make a more traditional sort of Irish, ancient Irish building. But when I got here with these materials and everything, I thought, I want to do something about buildings growing up. So we've got the beginning and the end. And the paper represents the stories of people's lives, really. Everyday tales contained in all these newspapers, and Zhang Xuewu's as well.
Well, that was wonderful. When I asked Xuewu if he had any knitting, and I was joking, I didn't think he knew an artist who was doing knitting. He said, oh yeah, this artist Lin Ying Li, and she's been making the largest sock in the world. And I thought, whoa, that's really great. And this woman brought out a huge bag full of the longest sock I had ever seen. It was meters and meters and meters. Each section was a flag of the world, and she'd done her Irish section with all the sort of colours of the flag. It was exhibited along one of the walls with the needles still in it, because she's not quite finished. I think she's got about 13 countries to go. Well, the Sino-Nordic Art Space is a lovely space, which is again southeastern Beijing, and it's run by Joseph Fung. He is a composer and was a cultural advisor to the Beijing Olympics in 2008. Joseph Fung has a wonderful collection of traditional Chinese and Tibetan furniture, really exceptionally beautiful pieces, and it's a very harmonious environment.
This is incredible, you know, in China to have so many people hanging an exhibition. I am very lucky.
Last year the theme was on books.
It was.
And this year?
Paper links.
Paper links.
Paper.
Still somehow
So,
linked to books.
Yeah.
Look at this. And you can see the texture here. Very nice, beautiful. But this is very Chinese in a way.
Yes, it has that quality, doesn't it?
Yeah. How do you find artists like this?
I look very hard, and I ask people to come forward and present their work, and I ask people I know whose work is good if they have suggestions, and I follow up the suggestions.
It all blends very well together. It's very 3D.
It is.
Oh, I like it. So somber.
Yeah. She's taken the ties of all the male members of her family, and she's wound them around this tree and made a series of photographs about them. You know, because it's about kinship and about, you know, links with nature and recognition of the family.
But these photos were taken in Ireland?
Yes.
This is something that I think some Chinese artists might also like to do.
I notice a lot of people in the art world are doing things like involving organic material, wrapping trees that are part of the landscape.
The ties could be made in China.
Yeah, probably, no doubt,
so
no doubt.
These are Chinese ones?
Yes, it is.
This is kind of the contemporary version of Chinese ink painting.
Yes,
but
yes,
this it looks rather 3D here.
Now, do you think this artist is Irish or Chinese?
It should be Irish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
But the colors, you see, Chinese don't have this kind of colors.
Yeah, yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
That's true. We have a different. It's a kind of a noticeable difference, isn't it?
It's
The way
kind of
colours are
European
used.
colors.
Yes.
This one is, I think it should be Irish.
Yes, it's me.
It's you.
Yes, yes.
This is really a amalgamation of Chinese and Western style. And he's using watercolors and oil together.
Yes. So it's an interesting mixture of techniques. So that's about it. That's the exhibition.
We always associate Ireland as somewhere that you have a lot of rain, it's very green, it's beautiful countryside and rather subtle and melancholic. So, but I'm surprised today to find that a lot of works are actually quite vibrant and with beautiful colors. We are very glad really to have the Irish and the Chinese mingled here together. A great cultural exchange. I think that's what China needs more, is to go out more, to learn more of the new culture and ask the foreign culture to be shown here in China. Thank you.
There we are.
爱尔兰中国友谊永固.
I do think, in a sense, the world doesn't know a great deal about Irish artists. Those Irish artists who do become famous, they tend to live in other countries. You know, in our culture it was traditional. Everybody emigrated. So until very recently, you know, if you wanted to be an artist, you'd generally leave Ireland, just like if you wanted to be a writer. I mean, if you think of Samuel Beckett, if you think of James Joyce. And I think for an artist, you need to encounter larger things. You need to open yourself out to the world a bit. The Irish artists who are participating, many of them live in Ireland, and some of them live in England, like I do. Those artists who live in Ireland, many of them have spent time abroad, and they may do so again in the future. I think the identity of Irish art is not so clear to people, and my aim is to make that clearer so that people can come and say, okay, it's not all the same, but there are certain things about it that we can say. This is very typically Irish way to paint or Irish way to produce work. Irish art generally has quite a strong element of colour. Colour is important and texture is important. Perhaps there's an interest in narrative, that a piece, even if it's abstract, that there's an element where you begin a journey when you look at it and you finish the journey when you stop looking at it. And I think that notion of the journey is very central in many Irish works. Well, the E-Gallery is a lovely contemporary space which is in Wansiying, which is southeastern Beijing. And He, who is the owner and director of the gallery and whose father is an artist himself, she runs it with great sort of verve and panache.
There are some artists who've been here before and then new artists in, and the age range is sort of from 20s right through to 50s. What she's done is she's torn away at sort of handmade papers and added other materials, and it's the ripping and layering that goes on.
Is that builder's mesh or no?
I'm very fascinated by the idea that the patterns you use in Aran knitting traditionally were derived from the landscape. So it was all about the stone walls, the seaweed on the fields, all those kinds of things. You wore the landscape when you went into the sea to protect you and to identify your body afterwards. I found a kind of gripping sort of circular thing going on there. So there we are, you've kind of seen this room. Let me take you to the public space, because it's really quite fun.
Okay, it looks very interesting. And are the found objects local found objects?
Yes. Yes. Source terror.
大家晚上好，希望你听得懂我的话。不过我说英文可以？好，我说英文好。I'm very pleased to be here this evening to formally open the Irish Dimensions Art Exhibition. With this exhibition, Fionn has carefully and skillfully drawn together, and I have just seen this, a group of artists whose work has much to say about the meaning of Irishness and of more universal themes also. This exhibition is one of 4 that Fiona's brought to Beijing as part of the Irish Cultural Festival this month. I think the Irish Wave is a truly wonderful project which highlights the best of contemporary Irish artwork and is very diverse and cutting edge. I'm delighted that there is also a close collaboration between the Irish artists and a number of very fine Chinese artists and artists based here in China. These artists' works viewed together are very powerful images. I wish to commend Ms. He Yi of the E-Gallery for hosting this very important art exhibition. I am sure that cooperation between Ireland and the gallery will continue to grow.
It's very much about asking you to encounter our culture, to invite you to our party and say, this is what we do, you know, we do this music, we have these books, we make this art.
Next, let's invite you another artist and curator who will speak to us briefly about her work in China. Please welcome Fiona Gong.
I'm very pleased to be here today and to speak to all the brave Beijingers and Irish people who've turned out in this weather. We've called our project Irish Wave for the reason that we were thinking of waves washing on the shore. Sometimes they leave behind some shells, some stones, some mementos, and then they wash back out again. So thank you for your time, 谢谢你们的光临, and I hope you can visit our exhibitions.
谢谢你们的光临，希望你们能够来到我们的展厅，能够享受我们的爱尔兰文化节。谢谢。
谢谢。
Straight through here is the main hanging area. There's no doubt that there's a big audience in China that is interested in Irish visual art, in particular Irish visual art, because the Chinese have a very visually orientated culture. Chinese artists, because of the art world in recent years, they're much more confident about taking on a global audience. And what we really need now is people in Ireland, partners to work with, who've got that sense of enthusiasm, who want to go out to China and do their thing. And let's see what we can do together. For many Irish people, China could be the land of opportunity for us in a way that maybe America was in the 19th and 20th century. Well, I think China is going to be that in the 21st century.
We do not only need bread, we need some art and dance and music and many other things. We can live with those things very happily.
斐昂策划的这个展览呢，是这个爱尔兰艺术节的4个展览之一。
I'm really delighted that I've met Shui Wu because I think his attitude to his work, to curating and to promoting relationships between artists from different cultures is extremely valuable.
我很高兴能认识他，因为郑先生是一个很有创造力的艺术家。